Hello, and welcome to the Tuesday nights from Survivor to Soulvivor 30-minute time. Normally you'll be able to see my face, but on today I had so much going on, so that you won't get distracted by everything around me, but that you could be centered and get a nice little feel of what it is to actually go from Survivor to Soulvivor. And so I'm going to turn down that so that you can hear me and so that I'm not yelling. And I just wanted to give time for you to just take that time to be still. Take that time to celebrate you. Take that time to just dwell in the you that was going all day, the you that always wins, the you that never gets to stop sometimes, the you that is overwhelmed, overworked, and then a lot of times underpaid, the you that sacrifices for everyone, the you that dreams and never let go but has to wait for process into promise, the you who was wounded and never healed, the you who had to survive, right, through it all. And so I want this whole Tuesday night right here at 9 p.m. every Tuesday, exclusively on YouTube. I want to give you the opportunity to celebrate you, to celebrate the not only survivor in you, but to build the soulvivor in you. And when I say build the soulvivor, I'm talking about building the you that has the mindset that collaborates with the survivor in you. You know, that person that won, that person that is always getting up, that person that is always reaching out for their best. That person. I want this Tuesday night to be a reminder of who you should speak to yourself as to now. Like, what do you say to you who won it all? What would you say to that person that you kept on seeing get beat down by life but never stop coming, right? What would you say to that person who lost a loved one and still got up with the strength because they know that God left them for a reason? What would you say to that person who lost their job and still went to find a new one and it ended up being greater than what they thought, or who had to lose that opportunity only to find themselves in a dream, not because they picked it, but maybe just because they had no other choice, but that opportunity allowed them to see themselves better. It allowed them to believe in the soulvivor, the one who knew that what it was required to do in order to be who they are today. And so I want us to always remember that all of the things that we accomplish after the storm, all of the things that we do after getting up, that is what we forget to celebrate. We bury it in shame and we don't want to name it and we don't want to talk about it. But it's the very thing that makes us fierce, that makes us courageous, that makes us worth the yes. And so as you see, that is what we was going in on. We were going to speak about being worth the yes. And for me, worth the yes is just the word worthy. What it means to be worthy. What does it mean to know your worth, to celebrate who you are enough to know that you are worth the price of admission, that it has already been paid for. And so that when something has already been paid for, that makes it prepaid. And so what is the worth on what has already been prepaid? I heard that it was priceless. I heard to have a prepaid card that it was priceless. And so I think that is what we have to celebrate, the priceless lessons that we turned into blessings, the priceless opportunities that actually grew us into who we are, those priceless experiences that when we think about it, and if we went back in time, we realize just how necessary it was, just how much we needed it, just how much it was required of us to show up, not because we could, but because we did, because we went beyond ourselves, you know? And so we already have everything we need to be great. We already have everything we need to rise. We have everything we need to be who we were called to be. And it's from the survivor in us. Because the survivor in us is the evidence that it's time to touch and agree with the soulvivor in us, right? And so when you think about what it means to be worth the yes, I wanted to go over the definition of what it is to have worth. What exactly would you say when you think of worthy? When you think of the word worth, do you think of having it all? When you think of worth, are you thinking about possessions or are you thinking about intentions? And so when I look up worth, it says equivalent in value to the sum or item specified. The value equivalent to that of someone or something under consideration, the level at which someone or something deserves to be valued or rated. And so we know what we've been through. And so it sounds to me that God gave us the free will to decide even our worth. that he allowed us to actually be able to count up the cost in order to understand what it was worth. And so many people who follow the I Choose Me movement, they know one of my topics was becoming an X factor. And in becoming an X factor, what it really is doing is actually allowing you to solve for X. It's allowing you to really sit back and think about all the things that you've been through, all the things that you experience it in order to add up your value. And so even for me to be in a space to be sure of my assignment, at the age of 40, I feel so grateful because it required that I sat down and counted up the change. The changes that had to occur for me to be who I am today. I even had to count up the pain because the pain is what became my power. It's what allowed me to be able to say you can do it. It is what allowed me to be able to say you can get up, that you can not only survive in the flesh, but that you can survive in your mindset, that you can understand that God made you special, that he made you one of a kind, and that he sent you to answer somebody's problem. So much so that he used the people that you love the most to challenge your every being for who I called you to be. And sometimes we think we come into this world to be brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and doctors and lawyers and preachers and teachers, when we really come into this world just to make a difference. God said that his will on earth, in heaven, he wanted to be here in earth in order for us to live eternity. And so when I think about eternity, if heaven is already set up for us, then eternity would start here. It will begin right now. Because in order for me to live in paradise for all of my days, then I would have to seize that moment here on earth because paradise is already promised. And so now and later is what embodies eternity. And so when I say the Soulvivor, I'm talking about your mind. Your eternal mind, the mindset of how you see yourself, who you were called to be. And it's not enough to be stuck in your roles and titles, but to understand that you are a God piece. Many say masterpiece. Many say purposeful. I say you are a God piece. And what that means is God is so powerful and so perfect that he couldn't give one of us all of him. So he decided to give each of us a piece of him. And it's a God piece. And it's a piece that's perfect. And when I hear people say I'm not perfect, I like to remind them that maybe things that you've done have not been perfect. But the special piece that God is molding you into will become a piece of perfection. It will become a light in somebody's darkness. It will become empathy when somebody only has sympathy. It would allow you to look into your story in order to give God the glory and show up in somebody else's life. And so when we become survivors, and then we touch and agree to become soulvivors in our mind by celebrating the principles, by understanding that it was a requirement. That's why we were sent, that we were required to do greater things than our brother. Some say Jesus, I say Yeshua, but we were required to do bigger things. And those things are light up somebody else's darkness so that they can find their switch. Those things are speak of your pain and tell them how God allowed you to resurrect just as your brother. Just how you had to be crucified by people and then resurrected, right? How you had to lose everything like Job and still know that God was worthy. Tell them about your scars and remind them that God wasn't picking on you, that he was picking you up because he had to remind you that you were sent here for a reason. He had to remind you that it wasn't about the friends that you were going to meet, but it was about the light that you were going to give to somebody else. It was about the story that somebody was going to be inspired because you were able to stand up in it. It was about how you got up from the hardest of times and the lowest of lows, and you knew that that valley was where you found your value. That's where you found your change. And often this new thing that God has given me in life, like, we look over change. We step over pennies, and we step over nickels, and we step over dimes and quarters, and we disregard it, especially in a pandemic, right? In a pandemic, you don't want to touch anything. But if you think about it, would you step over a dollar or a $5 bill or a $10 bill in the middle of a pandemic? Probably not. You would risk your life for something that you thought was whole. But I want to tell you that for all the change that you stepped over, it all adds up to be whole too. That you could actually take all that change and cash it out, get an exchange of value if you wanted it to look like dollar bills. But let me tell you something, a dollar bill has no value, but that coin, that silver, oh, that silver has value. That gold has value. And one day the paper will mean nothing. And so the things that we have put value on are the things that we forgot about. We forgot that the worthiness in you was about the changes that occurred through the journey of you, and the ability to stand up in your change so that others can feel inspired, so that they can be motivated, so that they can celebrate themselves because they know that they were worthy, that they too was worth the yes, that they too were able to decide their value because they knew what it cost them. How many things has your life already cost you that you forgot to add up? And so I want you today to sit back in this moment and think about what change occurred. I can start with me. I am a soulvivor, not just a survivor. Way beyond my flesh, my mind is a soulvivor of incest molestation. I am a soulvivor of being spoke badly about and moving on and giving opportunities and not putting up the wall. Because I can say I could been hurt over and over again, but anytime I came with open hearts, I meant it from the depth of my soul. That even in my imperfection, God is perfecting my God piece. Because he knows that all of these things that I'm learning as I am developing into the greatness that is me, as you are developing into the greatness that is you, that he is preparing us through the process in order for the promises that are attached to the change that we bring to him. And so God wants to know, where did you change? What was magical about your story? What does that little boy or little girl have to say about who they see when they look in the mirror, honey? Because when you look in the mirror, you get to look at the past you. You get to look beyond where everybody else sees, the secrets that you never shared. You get to look in that mirror and say to yourself how proud you are of you for how you have grown, how you have resurrected. And so how many people did you have to forgive to be able to look yourself with a smile? How many moments did you had to rise from in order to say, God, please use me to be an example? How many times did you have to actually celebrate you because you actually thought about what it took for you to become the book that got your name on it? How you were able to name yourself after every single moment that robbed you of your joy. How you were able to find that laughter again. How you were able to find that love again. How you were able to find that bridge in that relationship again. How you were able to see God again. Because somewhere you forgot that he still was there. You were lost in the time. I'm so lost in the time, trying desperately to see clear. What turn did I miss, or what message I didn't hear? For I'm walking this path on this future I didn't plan. And no matter how fast I'm moving, it seems in the same place that I stand. Because I want so many things, but I just can't get it right. And at this time, my spirit and flesh are in a fight. But I'm stuck in the middle trying to choose which way to go. And I'm going through these obstacles, and each day I never know. Is this the day that my Lord will rescue me, cast out all these spirits, and set my body free? For I long for a peace that I once knew, long to let go of the path that I can't go back through, trying hard to accept the letdowns to myself and embrace who I am. to let go of my pride and grasp my fellow loved one's hand. For they are reaching out for me, but I must convince them I got it together, knowing that I'm getting cold and wet in this stormy weather. And so I'm asking God, why do you have the rain falling on me the way you do? And he simply answers, that's not the rain, but that's my tears anointing you. For I know what I placed in you to be. And I'm just putting you in storm so that you can see. Look at who you are and search for my divinity in thee. And know that this place in your life is where I needed you to be. For I needed you to experience some hurts and letdowns so you could connect yourself to me and embrace the life I gave you and be the best that you can be. I love you, my child, and I'm watching from up above. So I ask that you stop searching, for I am, and there is no greater love. And I just want to remind you that all the things that it costs you, God says, seek and ye shall find. So it is your responsibility to search within your situations, to search within those valleys, to remember what it was preparing you for, to build up that spiritual muscle so that at the next valley, right before that mountaintop, that you have what it takes because you have the reminders of not only the survivor, but by you changing your mindset, you speak life over yourself and you become a soulvivor because you change the language and how you ask. You change the language and what you believe for yourself. You change the language and what you require. And so, you get to decide, what are the instructions to me? You get to decide, who do I want to be? And what does that look like? What does that feel like? And you get to inadvertently show up for you because you deserve it. You get to celebrate you because who better to celebrate you than the person that knows what it cost you, the person that know all the change that was required for you to stand in your light, for you to embrace yourself. I want you to look at that I Choose Me logo, and the mission of the logo is for you to hug yourself until you can look yourself in the eye. Because the one thing that you have control over is you. You can't control somebody else in a situation, but you can always control you in a situation. And God gives you the free will to control your mind. He says to renew your mind daily because he knows in you speaking different, you will create the reality that you deserve. You really do get what you deserve. And you can't fool yourself into believing that you deserve what you don't. And so that's why I say, go into those closets, go into that room, in that meditation time with yourself, celebrate yourself for the things that you're not even willing to tell people you overcame just yet. Celebrate yourself for the things that nobody know you had to do it and you had to do it alone. You got to become your own best friend. You've got to become the person that says, listen here, queen or king, you are worth what it is that you're asking for. You are worth the yes because you did it. You made the changes. And when somebody says, who are you to deserve that? I know where you came from. You got the power to say abracadabra. Thank you, God, for allowing me to seize the wand in my life, to realize that it was all in a simple word and an intention and an expectation. When the magician stands there with that wand, he don't just wave the wand. It isn't done until he speaks over the power and the energy of the wand. And so you are the wand, and you get to speak life over yourself by celebrating what you survived. So don't just say I'm a survivor, but believe that you are a survivor. Celebrate the survivor in you in order to talk differently so that you can say, I'm a queen. I am undefeated. I am a king. I can dictate my destiny. I am a master manifester. I see star on there. Right, Nakia? I get to be my own boss. I get to show up because I can. I get to live in my dreams, and it doesn't have to be my plan B, that it is my plan A, because I speak it over me, just as I speak that I can go and get a job tomorrow if I so choose to. I don't just ask for a job. I show up, I apply, I go down there. Those are all action steps. The same applies with your dream. You don't just say you want a dream, but you assert yourself. You write a plan and you apply. You apply to you. Because God made you a survivor in order for you to tell yourself how powerful you are, how special you are, how one of a kind you are. And so we are coming up to the 30-minute mark, because this is only going to be 30 minutes of your time on Tuesday nights. I won't take too much. If you want to go from advice to guidance, you can always go to the soulsagesdoctor.company.site, and you can subscribe to be a part of the conversation where it's one-on-one or group sessions. And you can be in the room and you can ask your questions, and I can see you and you can see me, and we can grow together and we can heal at God's feet. Because he already made the seat. He made room for you. And so I want to share my children's book, which you can find at preciouspaulin.com, and you can find at ichoosemeblinkboutique.company.site. You can find even on Amazon. I prefer you find it with me, though. But this book is called How Special Are You, Where You're One of a Kind, and it's written in both girls and boys version. I wanted to share that on this specific live. And it goes, how special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. You have a beauty that the world has never seen. And knowing that is the core of your self-esteem. You have something special that no one can do. Plus, the world would be missing a piece without you. There's a light inside that gets brighter day by day. When you nurture yourself with what you choose to say. How special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. Words have power and the ability to provide a sense of peace for the you inside. You are a soul that is longing to hear the beat of your drum. And the more you love yourself, the louder the sound becomes. There is an inside voice that whispers your name. And to honor yourself, you must stay in your lane. How special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. A lane was created to get you to your dream so you could become something the world has never seen. What you have is so divine. Did you forget I said you are one of a kind? You are amazing beyond measures when you recognize who you are. And that one essential piece is the essence that gets you far. How special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. No matter what life throws you, understand you were built for the ride. And everything you need was already placed inside. No one can ever love you more than the love that is waiting inside of your core. So tell yourself daily, I choose me no matter what. And you will begin to fill your empty cup. How special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. Your mission is to see your beauty in all that you are, for that turns on the light to your undying star. Because when you choose to shine, you can brighten every room. Understanding when light enters, darkness can never loom. The world is a puzzle waiting on your masterpiece in order to be complete. And the moment you master your piece, you can finally take a seat. How special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. Take a seat at the table which says I have showed up in my assignment because my mind, body, and soul has come into alignment. Love yourself 365 days of the year and watch how you win. For greatness is finding the power within. Know your worth in all that you do, for destiny is waiting, and everything you dream of will start elevating. How special are you? Well, you're one of a kind. I could search the world over, and another you I would never find. And so I hope that you go to sleep tonight, or that you go through this whole day thinking that the world can never find another special you. And so, in order to become wealthy, you must fill up on the things that God wants to lift. Fill up on the things that make you so valuable, so important, so worth the yes. And so you are worthy. You too are worth the yes. And so celebrate yourself daily. And remember, you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. It is your responsibility. So go on and shine your light and make somebody know why God sent you. You, my dear, are worth the yes. Love you, and I'll see you guys right here next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. And don't forget to take care of those souls. Bye bye.